Making headlines tonight, anti-Saitam protest in Colombo. Police use water cannons to disperse student protesters at Lipton Circus. 13 students arrested.
First at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
Also making headlines tonight, Jaffna shooting. Police sergeant injured in yesterday's shooting near Nallur Koval passes away. 2 suspects arrested. Eradication of dengue. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasizes the need for short-term solutions. Devolution of power. Deputy Minister Ajit P. Pereira says a practical administrative system needed to develop the country in a fair manner. Making headlines news overseas, Congress unites. Leaders of both US parties agree on new sanctions against Russia, Iran and North Korea. Good evening. This is your primetime news at 9. I'm Indivri Abuatha. We begin with tonight's top stories from across Sri Lanka. Police used water cannons to disperse protesters engaged in a satyagraha at the Lipton roundabout today. Protesters had ignored a ruling by the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court ordering them to conclude their hunger strike. 13 university students were arrested during this protest. The satyagraha was organized against the recent attempt by police to arrest convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee, Ryan Jailath.
A tense situation arose when the police tried to arrest the convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee, Ryan Jailath, as he was leaving the premises of the Government Medical Officers Association after attending a media briefing on Thursday. The Medical Faculty Students Action Committee and Inter-University Students Federation commenced a satyagraha against the incident yesterday. University students were engaged in the hunger strike for a second day today when the police tried to hand over a ruling by the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court ordering them to conclude the strike. However, protesters refused to accept the court order. As a result, police attempted to disperse the protesters by using water cannons. Meanwhile, convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee, Ryan Jailath, expressed his views at a media briefing today.
The government is using all sorts of tactics to stop this protest. Police officers in plain clothes are now trying to assault students during protests. There are thugs in the police department now.
State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena spoke out against the conduct of police officers during the attempted arrest.
I condemn this incident because the police officers should have worn their uniforms while trying to arrest the individual. Minister Sagala Ratnayaka has begun an investigation into the matter and he'll make a statement soon. We assure you that our government doesn't have a white van culture.
Meanwhile, police media spokesperson Ruwan Gunasekara also spoke about the incident at a media briefing.
Police went to arrest him on the 20th because there were charges against him on vandalization of public property, but they couldn't arrest him that day. Maradana Police Station and the Colombo Crimes Division are conducting their investigations into the matter. He's a warrantee. Apart from this case, he also has 5 other legal cases against him. This particular van was attached to the Colombo Crimes Division. The constable who drove the van was in uniform. There were other officers in this van, including the OIC of the Colombo Crimes Division, who were all in uniform. Officers attached to the crimes division work in plain clothes. That's why they are given official police IDs. They have their authority through that.
Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association is to engage in a token strike on the 25th of this month. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, the GMOA said they will protest the attempted arrest of the convener of the Medical Faculty Students Action Committee and the government's action on the CITEM issue.
Today, the GMOA General Committee had a lengthy discussion regarding the attempt to kidnap Ryan Jayalath and the way forward for the CITEM issue. General Committee decided to go for a token trade union action on 25th to protest and give the red light to the government to trying the threatening and trying to sabotage the ongoing process by the students and the trade unions. Minister of Media very clearly told that this is an ongoing coup against the government. Still, the government is having enough time to sort this issue and make sure who are the people behind this coup. Other thing is, we have to emphasize to the government, the GMOA or the students will never step back till the abolition of the CITEM and to win this battle because of the public interest.
The police sergeant who was injured yesterday during a shooting near Nallur Kovil in Jaffna passed away this morning. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said that 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident.
A gunman opened fire at the vehicle of Jaffna High Court Judge M. Ilanchelian last evening. A police sergeant attached to the judge's security detail was critically injured in the shooting and died while receiving treatment at the Jaffna hospital today. A police constable was also injured in the shooting and was admitted to the Jaffna hospital. Justice Ilanchelian is part of a trial at bar hearing of the rape and murder of schoolgirl Sivaloganadan Vidya. Convening a media briefing today, police media spokesperson Ruwan Gunasekara provided more information on the incident.
Police Constable Wimalasiri Niladariage Vam Ate Uda Kotasata Vedi.
Police Constable Wimalasiri has been shot in the upper part of his left hand. His situation is not serious. The perpetrator of the shooting fled the scene of the crime. Investigations reveal that one of the suspects is the main suspect's elder brother and the other is a relative.
Nyatiyek Bavatai Anavarane Vanne.
No, investigations have revealed no connections to the case. This is an unexpected situation. No, we haven't discovered anything like that so far.
51-year-old Sergeant Sarath Premachandra was a father of 2 who became a police constable in 1986. He was a resident of Kumarakattua in Chiloe. Judge Ilanchelian visited the morgue, then met Premachandra's wife to offer his condolences. Sergeant Sarath Premachandra had worked for High Court Judge M. Ilanchelian for 15 years. Justice Ilanchelian also visited the police constable who was injured in the shooting.
I lost a loyal officer who worked for me for 15 years. He protected me in Trincomalee, Colombo and Kalmune as well as during wartime. He sacrificed his life to protect me. The other officer has been injured and he also did a great deal to protect me.
The remains of Sergeant Premachandra were brought to the police station in Jaffna and then returned to his family in Chiloe.
And in a statement, President Maithripala Sirisena condemned the shooting targeted at Justice M. Ilanchelian. A statement issued by the President's Media Division today noted that a special program will be initiated to strengthen the security provided to justices. Meanwhile, religious leaders and politicians expressed their views regarding the shooting.
This is a very bad act. Law and order are maintained properly. No one should interfere in its processes. We condemn the attack against the High Court Judge M. Ilanchelian. He is currently handling and responsible for important cases in the northern province, and the whole country is expecting results. There is no armed conflict in the north, but some extremists in southern areas take advantage of these situations.
Releasing a media statement, the Tamil National Alliance also condemned the attack. TNA media spokesperson M.A. Sumandiran stated that the conspiracy behind the incident should be revealed, and though there were similar cases in the Jaffna Peninsula previously, this incident shows that crime has reached a serious level.
Premier Ranil Wickremesinghe points out that short-term solutions are needed to address the waste management problem in the country. The Prime Minister was speaking at an event at the Temple Trees today, adding that the current garbage crisis occurred during the previous failures in addressing the root cause of the issue.
The 60th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Association of Government Medical Laboratory Technologists was commemorated today at Temple Trees under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister attributed the dengue epidemic to the ongoing garbage crisis.
If dengue is to be eradicated, garbage must be removed. In waste management, we initially sought a solution for the root problem. A plot of land has been allocated in Puttlam for the disposal of garbage over several years. This plot of land can eventually be filled and returned to the Wildlife Department. However, it will take 2 years for the site to be prepared. Although we have long-term and mid-term solutions, we are yet to find short-term solutions. Legal action and judgments were given against individuals who obstructed dumping in certain sites. We can currently dispose of garbage in locations such as Karadiana and Dompe. The removal of garbage has been put into action by the Triforces, police, local authorities and the Ministry of Provincial Councils and local government. In resolving the main issue, solutions must be found for a multitude of smaller issues. That should be our aim.
Deputy Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ajit P. Pereira calls for a practical administration which could provide all communities with fair opportunities, replacing the existing administrative system. The Deputy Minister made the statement addressing a public gathering in Kaluthara today.
Development procedures have not reached all the provinces of the country under the present administration system. Therefore, the government wishes to devolve power and distribute it among the provinces instead of the Colombo-centred administration system. We need development to take place everywhere in the country. Therefore, we have to give provinces the power to make decisions. The introduction of the provincial council system was done for this purpose. Since it had its own issues, the system didn't function properly. I was also in the system for some time, and I learnt that it is a white elephant. We have to implement a practical system in which the relevant areas have the power to make decisions for themselves.
It's time now to take a look at a few other stories making news from across Sri Lanka.
10 acres have been destroyed by a fire in Tumbikulama Forest Reserve near the Habarana Anuradhapura Road. The fire started at 5:30 p.m. yesterday and spread due to the dry conditions in the area. Minister of Health, Nutrition and Indigenous Medicine Dr. Rajitha Senaratne says that the government will introduce treatment for cancer using genetic technology. He expressed these views at an event in Dompe today.
The treatment is provided based on the DNA of the patient. There is a medicine for cancer called Keytruda. We want to research it further for a year and hope to introduce it to Sri Lanka. In indigenous medicine, 2 patients who have the same illness are treated in 2 different ways. They may show different symptoms and the illness may also affect them in different ways. The reason for this is genetics. This method of treatment is called personalized medicine.
JVP member for Uva Provincial Council Samantha Vidyaratna says that people who were affected by the implementation of the Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project should be compensated.
Compensation should be paid for this crime. They should provide water facilities and houses. Large, medium and small-scale businesses collapsed. There should be an investigation to look into the destruction on the eastern slope of the Central Hills.
JVP parliamentarian Sunil Handunnetti says the implementation of law is biased. Handunnetti further alleged that closing down the Financial Crimes Investigation Division and Anti-Corruption Secretariat benefits perpetrators who are in the government.
In your business news tonight, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government is working towards establishing a modern legal framework in order to support an advanced economic system in the country. The Premier said this addressing an event in Colombo yesterday.
President Maithripala Sirisena inaugurated the 28th summit of the Presidents of Law Association in Asia-Pacific region yesterday. The inauguration ceremony was also graced by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Chief Justice Pereira and other dignitaries. Over 300 delegates from the Asia-Pacific region are attending the three-day summit organized by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka.
What Sri Lanka wants to do is the hub of the Indian Ocean for trade, for logistics, for communications. When in Europe led in the Industrial Revolution, we took over the legal systems of Europe. Understandably, we needed it. But when we are becoming the engine of growth, shouldn't we in Asia also look at how we can now have the legal framework for commerce and business? We need the new laws, and that's where we have to draft the laws, and we have to talk to the Bar Association of new systems. There are three areas we have to now discuss. First is, as you mentioned, ease of doing business. Similar with the trade reform. We have to go ahead with the trade union. We are working on those two projects. The third one, which is under my ministry, is the offshore financial center and the financial city. How are we going to create it? Now we are having discussions with China Hub on one hand. On the other hand, we will be holding a discussion with the Reserve Bank of India and some of the others, but we have to work within it. So that's a matter which will require consultation, both with the bar and the bench.
The Premier also went on to reveal the government's plans to open Sri Lanka's economic system in order to become a competitive nation in the next 20 years.
This government has improved its relationship with the Asians, and our business and economic development also rests a lot on three agreements: the joint statements issued with India, the joint statements on economic matters with China, joint statement on economic matters with Japan, plus the GSP plus we have got from the European Union. So this means that we have to open out our economy. And where do we go? We have brought in the new incentive structure in the Inland Revenue Act. We have the foreign exchange bill, which will be debated in Parliament this week. So that is creating a structure. But we are also hoping for the free trade agreements with India and China and Singapore and with the other Asian countries. It will in no way put the domestic industry at risk. It's not a one-year decision, 10 to 15 years, when we have to become competitive in Asia.
Saudi Arabia's Prince Fahd bin Mukrin bin Abdulaziz, who arrived in Sri Lanka on a special tour yesterday, said that Saudi Arabia will fully support the development of the petroleum industry in Sri Lanka. He made this assurance when he called on Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Ranatunga at a discussion, which was also participation by Chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Board, or rather Petroleum Corporation, Dhammika Ranatunga. The Saudi prince has agreed to provide technical knowledge and financial resources to develop the oil refinery industry in the country. Still in business news, we move on to your international segment. China's diesel and gasoline exports surged in the first half of this year as a domestic supply cut and slowing demand growth prompted refineries to sell more fuel abroad. Diesel shipments jumped almost 21% in the first 6 months compared to the same period a year ago, averaging 328,500 barrels a day, according to official data. Gasoline exports rose 8.1%, averaging nearly 222,000 barrels a day. China's state-run fuel makers have sent more fuel overseas to draw down swelling stockpiles, while the nation's gasoline and diesel demand growth has been slowed by alternative transportation such as shared bicycles as well as gas-free vehicles and electric cars. And a look back to the week, the benchmark all-share price index and S&P SL 20 index shed 1.43 points and 2.31 points respectively over the course of the week. And average daily turnover was up 858 million rupees, with diversified sector recording the highest sector turnover. We take a look at how the market will perform in the coming week with Dimantha Matthew from First Capital.
We expect some sort of slowdown in the benchmark index with some profit taking in selected counters which have moved significantly. Buying interest by foreigners have been strong over the last week, and we expect the same trend to continue this week as well. With some slowdown in the overall sentiment, we expect activity levels to reduce to moderate level. Buying interest is also likely to be concentrated on the big cap counters.
Your sports news will follow after this break. Final of the Women's Cricket World Cup between hosts England and India at Lord's. India are currently 167 for the loss of 3 wickets at the end of 39 overs. The Indians are in search of a first title against 3-time champions England, who batted first and scored 228 for 7.
Lauren Winfield.
Having won the toss and elected to bat, England made a positive start but were pegged back as opener Lauren Winfield fell to Rajeshwari Gaikwad for 23. Fellow opener Tammy Beaumont then went cheaply to a full toss, and captain Heather Knight was dismissed for just 1 run to leave the host reeling. Natalie Skyver and Sarah Taylor were able to put the innings back on the right track with an enterprising 83-run partnership.
Half-century.
But Jhulan Goswami claimed Taylor's crucial wicket for 45. Fran Wilson then departed to Goswami the very next ball, with the experienced bowler claiming 3 wickets for the innings. The dangerous Natalie Skyver was Goswami's 3rd victim for 51 as India seized the initiative. But Catherine Brunt with 34 and Jenny Gunn with 25 not out were able to steer the hosts to 228 for 7 in their 50 overs.
The International Association of Athletics Federation's President Lord Coe says he cannot guarantee the upcoming World Athletics Championships will be drug-free. Russia's Athletics Federation is banned for the London event, having been suspended by the sport's governing body in 2015 amid allegations of state-sponsored doping. Coe told the BBC that people would always seek to cheat, but added that the system for detecting cheating is a lot safer, with several measures in place to make the process faster and more stringent. I'll be back with your international news after this short break. Following intense negotiations, leaders of both parties in the US Congress have agreed on legislation that allows new sanctions against Russia, Iran and North Korea. The new legislation would also sharply limit US President Donald Trump's ability to lift any sanctions against Russia.
Under the proposed bill, US President Donald Trump must submit a report to Congress on proposed actions that would significantly alter US foreign policy in connection with Russia, including easing sanctions or returning Russian diplomatic property. Congress would have at least 30 days to hold hearings and then vote to uphold or reject Trump's proposals. Meanwhile, Trump insists he has complete power to pardon people amid US media reports that he is considering presidential pardons for family members, aides and even himself. The assertion comes amid a widening investigation on his presidential campaign's alleged links to Russia.
And tens of thousands of people gathered in over 100 cities across Poland for protests and candlelit vigils after senators of the right-wing Law and Justice Party agreed to a bill that would remove all Supreme Court judges except those handpicked by the Justice Minister. The Polish government says the changes will make the judiciary more effective and ensure that judges are accountable, while critics say it will destroy judicial independence.
Demonstrators against the controversial bill gathered for a candlelit vigil at the villa of Law and Justice Party leader Jarosław Kaczynski, who is also Poland's de facto leader. The overhaul of the judiciary has provoked a crisis in relations with the European Union and sparked one of the biggest political conflicts in the country. With the legislation passed in the Senate, the bill will go to Polish President Andrzej Duda, an ally of the Law and Justice Party, for final approval. According to an opinion poll, 55% of respondents said Poland's president should veto the judicial overhaul, while 29% wanted him to sign it.
Before we wrap up, we take a look at how the weather will be for the next 24 hours in Sri Lanka. And that's all from your primetime news tonight, but we'd like to take you to Western China with this, where the Yi ethnic minority group recently celebrated their annual Torch Festival, dancing around campfires, waving flaming torches. The Yi minority group live in the mountains and valleys of the Sichuan province, and their isolation has retained many of their traditions. We leave you with these visuals. Have a pleasant evening. Stay safe. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.